Wish TV is focused on family and the community and is committed to sharing the stories of those who are making a difference every day. From the All Indiana Podcast Network and Wish TV, this is Behind the Eight Podcast. Your day moves fast. Your news should too. That's why there's a new and improved Wish TV app bringing you more local news, breaking alerts, live streaming, weather forecast, radar, and Indiana sports all in one place. Customize your news feed to see the stories that matter most to you and get the information you need when you need it. Download the new and improved Wish TV app today on iOS or Android and take News 8 with you everywhere.
Welcome into Behind the Eight. It's our opportunity for you at home to get to meet some of the people here who work at Wish TV and get to know them on a different level, because you may see them on air. You may not even know them at all, because sometimes we do behind the scenes folks as well. But today I have one of my dearest friends, one of the best people I've ever worked with, and my newest co-host. Well, I don't know if newest is even fair at this point. It seems like it's been forever. Felicia Michelle hanging out with us today. Hey, thanks for doing this finally.
Thank you. That was like literally some of the nicest things you've ever said to me. I'm thanking God it's on record now. It's recorded.
They make me do it nicely on these because people listen to it and it lives on the internet forever.
Okay.
So on air, I can get away with being a little less sweet.
Gotcha.
Let's start here, because I think one of the coolest things about you is you're so genuine, and that was the way from the moment you came in and interviewed to work here and do these shows. That was what was so endearing, is you were so genuine from the get-go, and who you were is who you were, and that is so important, especially when it comes to lifestyle. So what has made you that way?
Oh, hard-hitting questions. All right, here.
My journalist side coming out.
All right. Because it's what I tell people when they're nervous. When we have people come on, they're like, I don't know what to say. And I always say, like, if you're your authentic self, it will resonate with people, right? So it's just a journey of actually, like, learning to like who I am and to be like, okay, I'm a flawed person, but perfection is not the qualifier of life. Like, it doesn't qualify you to get the job you want or the life you want. Like, just being a good person is what qualifies you. So as long as I was trying to be a good person, I was like, oh, okay, people will get down with this. The people can get jiggy with what I got going on if I'm just my authentic self. But if I'm being fake at all, then they won't feel where I'm coming from, and I'll never really get to where I'm trying to go. Another thing too is being authentic is really important, because I mentor children, and if I am disingenuous with them, you can't lie to kids. Yeah. Like, kids will call you out. Like, kids can read right through you. And I think working with kids made me also just realize I had to be my true self, because, a lot of them, again, thought that they needed to be perfect in order to get things, right? They see you on TV, or they see you have these opportunities with, like, celebrities, or, me living in LA, like, they saw all these things and they thought, oh, well, I can't do that. And it's like, no, you can do that. Like, I'm 100% not a perfect person. But that authenticity is just also too, I'm from South Jersey. Like, Jersey folks, like, the worst thing in Jersey to be called is fake. Like, if you call somebody fake in school, it's a fight, because it's like the worst thing to be is fake. So probably how I was raised, and also just kind of the work that I do outside of my career with kids. Well,
it works out perfectly, because career-wise here, you host Life.Style.Live. Mm-hmm. At 10 a.m., Life.Style.Live at noon, of course, obviously, and then All Indiana at 4 p.m. And that doesn't even include the plethora of other things, whether it be specials or the podcast network when you're doing things there, whatever it may be. What has that been like so far? Has it met expectations? Has it been what you thought it was going to be? What has differed from that? And why did you decide this was the path? I know that's like a lot of questions in one.
Yeah, that is. That was just fine. For me, it has been, because like in my interview, I was like, this is a dream job. Like, when I talked to you, I was like, this is a dream job, for me. Imagine you get to finally, after working for years and years and years, get a job based off of your personality, right? Like, based off of who you are, and based off of, like, the joy. Like, I get paid to be happy, right? And a lot of times I have a lot of energy, and I think I can be a little bit annoying to people. So it's like an outlet for me to be able to do that and to get to do different types of things. Because even when we do All Indiana, there's some news things there. There's some heavier topics we get to talk about. So having that range is what I appreciate for it. And it's been great. I mean, the other day we were eating oysters in the morning. Yeah. Today we had French toast. Like the food alone will get you going. But it's really just working to this point. And it feels like a sense of being validated, right? Like I am who I envisioned in my mind to be. And it kind of put more fire in me, honestly, too, because I was getting a little, what's the word? Just exasperated, fatigued at trying to work towards this dream. I mean, before I moved to Indiana, I was living in Los Angeles. And if you know anything about living in LA, it's quite expensive. So, my job before my last position in South Bend was I was selling shoes on TikTok. Like I was selling shoes on TikTok that I could not afford, And so it's like to go from that like 2 years ago to now being on this show, Life.Style.Live specifically because we're nationally syndicated. We're in several markets. It's just a dream come true. And my mom always says you're just a little girl from South Jersey, and so it's if I think about it too much, I'll cry. I think I tell you every morning, like I was so grateful when I woke up this morning, like just happy.
Well, but I think there's a level to that too, and we've been talking about doing this podcast together for a hot minute, and it keeps getting pushed back because we're so busy. I know. But one of the things I love to do on this podcast is actually dive into some of those more serious topics because people get to see you and me hanging out, having fun, laughing, having a grand old time. But we get to do that because of the work that you have put in leading up to those moments and because of the way that you value yourself and the way that you represent to others as well. That was something when you came in for your interview, you have naturally curly hair, obviously being a black woman, like all those things are incredibly important.
I'm black.
I know, crazy. But that was something that was legitimately important to you, was being a representation to young girls of color that want to do this and that it's not easy and the struggle is hard.
Yeah.
But when you get to that upper echelon and showing people you can do this too, that has to mean something.
It does. One of my first internship experiences was at Fox 5 in Washington, D.C., which was just a blessing. Shout outs to the whole team there. That was an incredible experience. I cry like thinking about it because that was like one of the toughest summers of my life. I was so broke. I had no money. I was so thin, not because I wanted to be thin, but because I just couldn't afford to eat. And, I'm trying to get behind somebody on the train to hurry up and get in, and like, because I can't afford train fare, and shout out to Micheline Bowman and Allison Seymour, who is a seasoned anchor in DC. And I remember coming to her and I was like, I really feel most comfortable with my hair curly, but in this program I'm in, everyone has their hair straight and it is at this point, and they all like are kind of cookie cutter, and I don't fit into that. And Allison just said to me, she's like, I think the industry is changing, and I think as long as you're willing to push that envelope and stand on that, that it's something you'll be able to do. And I remember one of my first news jobs of my sister's her friend had a daughter who was like 11 or something. And she was like, I didn't know news ladies wore their hair like that. And when she said it, it just illuminated something for me, like, oh my God, like that is important. That is to not change the way that I talk, to not change the way that, I like to dress, or not change the way that I like to wear my hair. Like it is important to have that representation there. And it's crazy because I've lost out on opportunities simply because I said, no, I'm not going to straighten my hair. And I know that's crazy for people to hear, like, oh my God, I can't believe that. Believe it. People say, or would you mind changing? Or if too many people complain, would you change this about yourself? And I was like, absolutely not. Yeah, right. So that has had me lose out on opportunities, but it wasn't for me.
Right. But I think what's been amazing is because of that validation and the way that you valued yourself that way, it's allowed you to do these shows in such an extreme, genuine way. And because of that allows me to do that because I don't have to hold back on anything either.
Oh,
and
you
I think,
not hold back.
No, definitely not. But I think that's what has made you and I, chemistry-wise, work out so well, is that the way we are on air is the way we are in the office with a few less curse words. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, really. And I think that's why viewers have had so much fun with you already. So I want to talk about some of that fun because we get a little bit wild and crazy on some of our shows.
Yeah.
Do you have any favorite moments so far? I know it's only been a few short months, but anything stick out particularly? And it could be anything.
Can it be off air?
Yeah, it can be whatever.
Okay,
I don't care.
it's typically when we're around our coworkers and one of us starts to do something that is slightly annoying and the other one comes up right behind and like doubles down on it and everyone kind of rolls their eyes at us. I said this to Hannah actually today. I was like, she's like, you guys have really great chemistry. And I was like, I liken it to going to high school with someone and like being childish with that person, because in high school you're still like a kid, and then meeting them in adulthood, but there's some like childlike aspect that still exists between the two of you, and that's pretty much what it is. I feel like we went to high school together, and now we just like kind of get to be big kids. But I think for me, if we're talking about chemistry wise, the thing that made me feel most comfortable during my interview, just being totally transparent here, I'm really pulling the curtain back, is that both of us have experienced extreme loss, and in a way that people our age haven't lost before. And that was interesting because that was the conversation that we had. And so I knew that, okay, if I'm having a bad day and if I have to say I'm hurting right now, this is something I'm still dealing with actively. Like I lost my brother in 2020 and it's been the most impactful thing in my life. I knew that I was in a safe space. And so I was like, okay, I'm safe here. If I'm safe, I can be myself. Like that was what it was for me. And I was like, okay, we're good. Because I don't even think we much joked around or acted silly in that conversation. We didn't have much time to talk because you were moving. Like there's a lot of interviews and stuff that we do throughout the day when we're not on air, a lot of stuff. And that was like, oh, okay. And that you drank Diet Coke.
Love Diet Coke.
Because
I can't live without it.
No, one of my favorite, shout out to Yel Teagle, who I work on Leverage Redemption, the official after show. If you want to check that out, that's going to be coming out next year in accompaniment to the new season of Leverage Redemption. She is a Diet Coke fiend. And so I was like, oh, good signs. Good signs.
I'm glad you brought that up because you also, beyond this, you are a pop culture fiend. You are a sci-fi freak, so much so that...
A blurred.
Yes, a blurred, as you like to call. So much so that you actually, for years, have been a part of an award show, the Saturn Awards, out in L.A., correct?
Yes. Typically, it's in Burbank. That's kind of the joke. The Saturn Awards... The Saturn Awards are... Not to people in L.A.
I know.
The Saturn Awards are like... the least pretentious award show I've ever been to. So if you don't know about the Saturn Awards, it's going into its 53rd year now, I believe. It's like the celebration of sci-fi, horror, and thrillers and all that. I've gotten to meet like Linda Blair and gotten to meet Phil Lamar. And last year I got to interview Nicolas Cage and Ernie Hudson and all these people, and Ming-Na Wen, all these people who I like fan out about. That community, like that sci-fi, horror, thriller, that community is so strong. Like nerds unite. Like, it's funny because in the show that I do, in Leverage Redemption, there's a character named Hardison, and he's played by Aldous Hodge. And his quote in the original series was, "Age of the geek, baby." And I feel like this is the age of the geek, right? It's like, it's okay to be nerdy now. Like it's kind of cool actually to be nerdy. Like all the things that like, comic books and all that stuff that I enjoy in that world has really just embraced me. And it's probably one of the best experiences of my career. I was really intimidated because that community is like, they're like walking encyclopedias.
Right.
Like they know everything.
Yeah, you got to be on it because they're gonna play you on that.
But it's that authenticity you were talking about, like me just showing up and saying, "Oh wow, like oh that's really cool," or doing my homework, learning facts. Getting to interview people like Guillermo del Toro is crazy because he's like the king of horror, probably up there with Stephen King, right?
Right.
And so that experience has been really great and wonderful. And like that award show, if you get a chance to go, like you can actually see the celebrities and they actually will sign things for you. Like last year, like we're walking to the party and Heather Graham is just dancing, just Heather Graham just out there just enjoying herself. Like there's that wall that you have with celebrity kind of doesn't exist there. Even interviewing Nicolas Cage, I was like, "Hi, I'm Felicia." He's like, "Hi, my name is Nick."
Duh.
Yeah, right. Like, oh, I didn't know that.
I think what's amazing to me is that bleeds over into what you do now. In that, I think a lot of people, if they were interviewing Nick Cage, would interview him very differently than they would interview somebody who's here to talk about their spaghetti fundraiser. But you don't treat it that way. You treat every interview identically, and I think that also comes across genuine on air. And so
I appreciate that. I try to, because this is the thing, like this, we're all on this human experience. We're all on this floating rock, moving around another floating rock. And fame and celebrity is not real. It's a facade. It's not real, guys. And someone can be on top of the world one day and the world on top of them the next. And so through that, I've just learned have real conversations with real people. I mean, I've learned sometimes bigger lessons from people who you wouldn't even know their name versus like something like, what's your favorite interview? And I'm like, it's the mom that like set up a scholarship for her daughter and raised awareness about suicide prevention. Or it was like, they're like, oh, it wasn't, Nicolas Cage. It wasn't Snoop Dogg. It's like, so, which those experiences are great too. Honestly, shout out to Snoop. Sure. He's like really, honestly, one of the coolest celebrities I've ever met in my entire life. He has a beautiful home too. Gorgeous home. Tiffany Haddish is also great too.
Snoop.
See, I don't like doing that. See, I hate doing that. Keep going.
No, keep name dropping.
No, because
we'll spend the next 20 minutes you just name dropping.
No,
people.
I hate it because it sounds like pretentious. But
where does Cody Adams land on that list?
Number one, yeah, obviously. No, that's another part too. It's kind of working around. When you're talking about authenticity, is working around the fact that like I'm not pretending to be anything. These are actually my life experiences that I'm talking about. But I've learned over the years to kind of reel it in because sometimes people don't want to hear that.
I think you'd be shocked though, especially out here, how much people like hearing those stories.
Really? Oh.
Yeah, I think. Obviously when you're in LA or you're in Burbank or whatever, like those are very different situations because everyone's like, yeah, I get it. We all saw that person or whatever. But like
they're at the Whole Foods. They're like at the corner and just standing there.
But here in, the Midwest, like, I mean, this is a true story. If I ran into Randy Ollis, Patty Spitler, Mike Ahern, whoever out in public, I was like, it might as well have been the Queen of England. Like, you know what I mean? And then I think so people love those little snippets of, oh, Snoop Dogg's cool. He's actually awesome. His house is actually really sweet. Those types of things. So,
it's
I
a compound.
I wouldn't stop sharing all those until someone says, please stop sharing all those.
I think I just never want to be somebody who's out of touch with.
Yeah, that's fair.
With reality, And
yeah.
I think that's maybe what it is.
One of the things that keeps us in touch with reality is family and home and things like that. You've mentioned that you are a South Jersey girl.
South Jersey's finest.
Yeah. Tell us about what it was like being Felicia Michelle, growing up, and who you were as a young whippersnapper. So,
Felicia Michelle didn't really like come into full existence until like probably after my senior year of college. But growing up, I grew up in a really small town. It's like 500 kids in the whole high school. So I literally went to school with the same kids from kindergarten to 12th grade. I remember who was in my kindergarten class. They were at my graduation too.
Yeah.
Growing up with people, it's so small and it kind of makes you not realize how big the world is. And so I just thought everything was just in my town. And then as I grew, and I was a TV fanatic, like I watched TV all the time, and I'm so grateful my mom didn't say go outside and play, because I might have had a different career than I have now, right? I was like really into like watching television. Like I loved the news. The first time I even saw someone in news, we were talking about representation, was Lisa Thomas Laurie, who's one of my favorite on-air talents of all time. I was like 5 years old. I've told this story before. And she was on TV, and I just remember looking at her and I thought, she looks like my mom. I was like, she looks like mommy. And I looked at her and I was like, she's so smart. How does she know all this stuff? And I was like, she's so pretty. Like, oh my God. And I don't know, I could read very early. I'm the youngest by far, like 10 and 9 years in my home. And so they taught me to read very early. And instinctually, I guess I knew lower thirds was her name. So I ran to get a pen and paper, because I constantly would like ask people, how do you spell this word? And I would write it down. I was like, again, nerd from the beginning.
Yeah.
And I tried to write her name down, but the credits started rolling. The newscast was over, and I cried like somebody had died. I was inconsolable. My mom was like, your 5-year-old's just like crying out of nowhere, like, what's the matter? What's the matter? And I'm like, that lady was on the TV, and this is how she came, and I'm like, I can't even talk. And she's like, oh, you want to watch the news?
She'll be back at 6.
She's like, she does this every day, Felicia. You don't need to cry about it. Like, she'll be back on tomorrow. And I remember watching her for many of those tomorrows. And she sat next to Jim Gardner, who, I mean, just a legend in the industry too. And I was like, she is everything. And she was the first person to make me go, I want to do that. Like, I want to be like her. And she spoke at a graduation at our community college. It was Gloucester County College at the time. Now it's Rowan College, because I'm from a college town, Rowan University. They've like now have a medical school, which is crazy. Come from this little town, the college has grown exponentially. It's wild. But she spoke at this this graduation. And when she finishes, everybody's clapping. I like jump up and give a standing ovation. I'm the only one standing up.
Everyone's like, what is this girl doing?
They're like, relax. And I was like, oh, okay, let me sit back down. And she's just been wonderful. She's on my list of people who I'd love to talk and interview. But I don't know. I just never. Everybody's like, why don't you reach out and say this to her? And I'm like, cuz she's Lisa Thomas Laurie. What do you mean?
I'm going to do a quick name drop as well on your behalf because I think Indianapolis folks will love this. Colts fans, your high school, Gary Brackett went to your high school, right? Famous linebacker here for the Indianapolis Colts.
I literally texted him the other day because he was on another station that shall not be named. And I was like, oh, so you're going to embarrass me and go over there? That? And I've been telling people that I know you. Sorry to put your business out there, sis, but him and my sister were high school sweethearts. So I spent a lot of time with Gary. I think I was the chaperone. I didn't realize it. I thought I was just rolling with the cool kids. I clearly was the...
Miss Marcia knew what she was doing.
Yeah, like going to get ice cream and different things like that.
We're all big Gary Brackett fans here. Or at least I grew up loving watching Gary Brackett. So. Watching a 5'8" dude play that position so strong and just be so fun was awesome for a lot of us.
Also, too, like if we're talking sports-wise, going to a school like Rutgers, as people don't traditionally think of as a big football school, and for him to come on, play the way that he did, earn a captain's position, it's funny because in high school they had Gary Brackett Day. I was so annoyed. I was like, Gary Brackett Day, because somebody like
Gary's just coming over and eating all our food,
right? And it's funny. Actually, I think my mom still has his high school varsity jacket.
Wow. And
I was like, you missed the time to sell that, girl. Yeah. Like, it's probably worth a little something. Sorry, Gary, if you hear this. My mom has your jacket. Right. But I remember the principal was like, oh, Gary, this is Felicia. He looked at her like she was absolutely crazy. He was like, this was like my little sister. Like, I know her. Like,
that's
what
so funny.
It's funny. I use him in my stand-up a lot out here.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up too, because a lot of people see you on air and you are genuinely funny, and I think that's what makes us work, is that I get to laugh a lot throughout the day. But you also have started dabbling in stand-up comedy, and when I say dabble, like you did a set in front of Tommy Davis.
That's like opening up for Tommy Davidson was crazy. Having his like number and being like, I'm so nervous about my set that I'm writing right now, and him like, it's okay, and I'm like, am I texting? Like he's somebody who I think is the epitome of comedy, because he can do all of it, right? He can do stand up, he can do physical comedy, he can do improv. Like he can sing. He's a phenomenal singer too. Crazy
good singer. Every time he comes into the station literally once a year, every time he comes and performs at Helium, the place goes nuts because he's so genuinely kind. And once to see people succeed, and he has a wild backstory as well, which we can get into in a whole different thing, and you can Google it. Yeah. And should Google it. But that must have been so cool to have that opportunity, and then also not only have that opportunity, but actually relish in that opportunity and create and parlay that into more opportunities.
It is scary. It is super scary because you're like, it's not like Life.Style.Live. It's not like All in Data. We kind of know what we're going to talk about. Life.Style.Live is unscripted, so we don't ever know what we're going to say. Obviously, we could tell by the reactions Cody and I have to the things that each other says. But that's scarier because it's vulnerability. Like you have to be vulnerable on stage with people to go there. I talk more about like my personal life, which I'm a really private person. So it's a new art form that I'm learning, and so that's a little nerve wracking because I'm comfortable here, right? Like I'm good here in hosting. Like I can do that, right? But learning comedy and the beats of comedy, I have like a writing teacher. Shout out to Jim Barnes. Jim Barnes is amazing coach to help me with. So I'm like a novice there.
Well, it has to be different too, because here we can make a joke and think it's funny, and it doesn't matter because you're not getting immediate reaction, right?
Baby,
because people at home are watching
that crowd,
and you don't know if they've laughed. But when you're in front of 30, 40 people, and you make a joke and not a soul,
30 or 40. No, Helium.
Well, yeah, Helium for sure.
A ton of people, and because it's dark, it looks like the amount of people are just going on for infinity and infinity.
And you got a light in your face too, right? So it's like everything's backlit and really hard to know their reactions.
It's an incredible experience. I think it's just how my career has been able to be what it is because I just had a willingness to try. Like if I was bad, I was like, okay, I don't have to do it again. Like, if it didn't go well, I don't have to try it again, or I could get better, right? Like I'm not afraid of embarrassing myself. And I don't like it when it happens.
Sure. But
I'm not like afraid of it in the way that I was maybe in my earlier 20s.
Yeah. One of the best things about you is that we could literally sit here and talk all day, and we do a lot of times in the office, and maybe we'll find a way to make this happen more, where you and I can sit down and just chat and hang out, because I enjoy it, but I know that people are probably like, this has been going on for a hot minute. So.
I know. Well, then they have to watch the show.
Yeah, there you go.
Life.Style.Live. Because we talk about our lives on there.
A lot. Like, probably too much. Monday through Friday at 10 a.m., also at noon, also at 4 p.m. for All Indiana. You can catch all those at Life.Style.Live.tv, AllIndiana.tv, WishTV.com, of course, those websites as well. And follow us on all the socials as well, because we have some fun over there. Felicia, you are an absolute blessing to this place, to us. We love you. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I can't wait to continue to work with you for the foreseeable future.
Oh, yeah, we're going to have a good time. We're going to have a good time.
We'll have more Behind the 8 podcasts as well. Of course, we take a look back and chat with a lot of the people that work here and do all of the hard work behind the scenes. And we hope that you enjoy those and that you join us next time on Behind the 8.
From the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is Behind the 8 Podcast. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to this podcast wherever you get your podcasts. And connect for even more on Facebook and at wishtv.com.